the captain. Life jackets and donning instructions are located on the main deck in lockers beneath the stairwells, in clearly marked boxes after the stairwells, on the port side midship, and at the stern of this vessel in 3 clearly marked boxes. Life jackets are also located on the upper deck on both sides near the air cabin doors and beneath 6 cushioned benches at the stern of this vessel. If you need assistance with proper donning, please contact one of our crew members for a demonstration. Life-ring buoys are located at the stern of the main deck and at the forwardmost side of the upper deck on the bridge wings. Emergency exits are clearly marked and are located on both the forward side of the main deck as well as aft. On the upper deck, the forward interior stairwells lead to the main deck exit. On the upper deck, the aft door of the interior cabin leads to the outer deck. Aft on the outer deck is a stairwell leading to the main deck and exit points. While on board, you're welcome to move around freely, but please hold on to handrails and use extra caution on the outer decks. Passing vessels can cause sudden rocking. Watch your step. Do not stand on chairs or stairs, sit on railings, move chairs, use umbrellas, or run. Please keep young children by your side. Keep noise levels down and be considerate of fellow passengers. For the safety and comfort of all patrons, smoking or vaping is not permitted. Cell phones may be used, but use of your cell phone speakerphone is not. Hold on to your belongings. Any item that falls overboard cannot be retrieved. Please dispose of your trash properly in trash receptacles located throughout this vessel. Restrooms will be closed 10 minutes before the end of this cruise. Once the cruise ends, additional bathrooms will be available for your use near the pier's ticketing office. While leaving or returning to the dock, please remain seated. Use extra caution when exiting the gangway. Thank you for your attention. Your cooperation is safe and comfortable. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy your Circle Line cruise.
Okay, guys, so let's get into a little bit about how the United States is also going along with Manhattan. Hundreds of years ago, we had Native Americans who lived in the United States name of Manhattan today. And they called it Manahunta, a word which meant the land of many hills when it was remote terrain. The only word that we're on right now is the East River, which is joining between Manhattan and our largest borough over here on our left, which is Brooklyn, which just means simply stated, the only towns merging the other 4 boroughs to form the city of New York that we know today in 1898. We also have the borough of the Bronx, which is the only one that's connected to the mainland in North America. We have Queens, and we have our small borough, which is called Staten Island. In fact, before I get into further history here, over on our right side, we have 2 ferry terminals. This first one, the green one, gets you over to Governor's Island, which is over here on our left side. And I'll more on that later. And the other one with the orange cap on it is for a free ferry that goes in front of the Statue of Liberty at all hours of the day or night. It doesn't go as close as we do, but it's at the right price and free. And you can get some awesome photos of the Statue of Liberty perhaps at sunset by getting on with these vessels. But when they take you to Staten Island, because it's a commuter boat, they are going to require that all passengers disembark. Do not go upstairs with the boat because it will likely not give you enough time to exit and to be able to rejoin that same vessel. In which case, especially if you're only here for a few days, you might have to be waiting for a half hour for the next boat to come in. Each boat takes 25 minutes between Manhattan and the Staten Island area. And the boats are huge, and that's why I said if you go upstairs, you'll likely not have enough time to exit and get back on. Now, we're going to be joining the Hudson River in a couple of moments. And it's named for Mr. Henry Hudson, who was an English explorer paid on behalf of the Dutch people to find the Northwest Passage to Asia. He didn't find a passage that he could see, but he did find an area that had a abundant moonlight that was found might bring a lot of money from the healthier marketplace. This will cost the Dutch about 7 months. They call it New Orange. Control reverts back to New York. In 1776, specifically on July 4th of that year, and their leadership was Great Britain. And they say, you know what, we're going to listen to us in the Parliament. And they fight, well, they won't be fighting for independence. The United States of America is officially born, declared as a new sovereign nation on July 4th of 1776. That's a big deal ever plus here in New York. In fact, next year, not only the big place in New York, and America as well, but especially in New York, because next year we're turning 250 years old. The East River and the Hudson River will be likely covered over completely with the flotilla of 12 ships. It's going to be an amazing celebration. If you're looking to come for next year, you might want to get reservations now, but I always advise people to get things that can be easily canceled without a penalty to you. Their things are selling out already, hotels and stuff. We had one last war with England after becoming the United States. We called the War of 1812. And I'm going to take it up right behind that right building there. This was outside the Rogers Tower. You go on StatueCityTourism.com for tickets, or you're going to buy them from where that American flag is at Castle Clinton. Do not buy from men or women roaming around Battery Park. They are not licensed sellers. They're not authorized to sell you tickets, and you will be out of luck on going to the island, okay? Now, when Castle Clinton actually did not see any war activity at the War of 1812, it would later become an entertainment arena for opera. And then, from 1855 to 1890, it became an immigrant reporting station for about 8. When they closed it, records would transfer out to the new Ellis Island. Ellis Island sits just to the right side of our Statue of Liberty, which you can see from the left side of our boat. Unlike Castle Clinton, Ellis Island, which contains the Samuel Ellis War beneath the structures, this was for people that were coming in the third class category of passenger travel. People in steerage. More of that later. Now we are on the Hudson River. This 315-mile long river of brackish water, a combination of swamp and fresh, is one that we share with the neighboring state of New Jersey over here on our left side. If you ever saw a movie in 2016 called Sully, this is the body of water where Captain Sullenberger had to make an emergency landing of U.S. Airways 1549. We would call it here the Miracle on the Hudson, and where it occurred was on the North River part of this Hudson River. All the way further up to the north, here is a bridge called the George Washington Bridge. Now, if you saw the movie where Tom Hanks portrayed Captain Sullenberger, you saw that he just missed by about 900 feet the very top pier of the eastern pier of the George Washington Bridge. There were 155 people aboard this aircraft that had just left LaGuardia Airport when it had suddenly been stricken by a flock of Canaries. come to. You see, you really don't know who you might be standing next to and what they've gone through, what they're still going through, even these 24 years in passing. And I'm a good example of this. Before I became a tour guide in 2011, I actually worked at 2 World Trade Center, 13th floor, for 17 years of a 31-year telecom career. When the first terrorist attack occurred on February 26, 1993, that stole the lives of I was there for that, and black smoke started to go up into my office space where I was working. I was also there early in the morning of 9/11, and although I had no injury come to myself or no harm to anybody that I knew, I've had 3 firefighter friends during the aftermath of 9/11, and all 3 died in the 2000s. First firefighter I lost was Jerry Graffinino Jr., who lost his life on August 18, 2007. His name is etched on a plaque that's at the end of the Firefighters Memorial Wall at the World Trade, right next to Robert Theddius. I lost a fellow that I dated in high school, Mike Beheady, who I lost in 2012 to cancer from the World Trade Center debris. I lost a 3rd firefighter friend in 2018. I have a 4th one who's very sick right now, and we're hoping for the best, but prepared for the worst, and hoping that he makes it at least to the holidays. That's how affecting it is. It affected the world, guys, but no more so than that nightmare so many years ago, and still continue to live it today. New York and of New Jersey. In fact, of the nearly 3,000 losses, New York City lost 2,753 people. But New Jersey was 746. These walls that we're passing right now, these parallel walls on our right side, are called the empty Scott Memorial to hold the memory of the loss on that side of the river. Name the state song, where you enter from the western wall, back to the skyline of Manhattan. It lines up where the former towers once stood. The building next to it dates back to 1889. It opened up as a Central Railroad terminal in New Jersey, and today it sits as a National Landmark building. One time it provided important rail service for many immigrants who processed in our country who elected not to stay here. They routed other destinations by rail service through that building. Today its purpose is served by statues and cruises boats, which you can see on the black and white vessels here now, and they provide service out to Ellis Island, Liberty, and Liberty up the river. Coming up next, that's side Ellis Island, and again, it was named for Samuel Ellis, who owned the land the structures on it. I believe it called the Island of Hope, the Island of Healing. Ellis Island processed the poorest immigrants that were coming here, people like Jack in the movie Titanic, that were third class known as steerage. Wasn't exactly playing with Rosie, was it? It was automatically assumed that if you could afford a better class ticket, well, that speaks volumes about you. Because, if you had enough skills, you'd have a better job. If you had better job, if you had more money, you'd probably be on a different class of ticket, like first or second class. So we had to kind of screen out people that came here from 1892 until 1924. Although they did keep the island open for other purposes until it closed in 1954, before being repurposed into Immigration Museum many years later. The buildings that sit to its left side are hospital buildings. Some of these were dedicated to incurable or infectious diseases. They had an operating room out there, and they also had a morgue. Now, they do say that probably about 1 in 4 of us can trace a member of our family through Ellis for processing. Have you ever tried to check your genealogy? Yeah? Where are yours from? From Sicily, okay. You know, we had a large group of people, not only from Sicily, but also that were Calabrese, and from, everywhere from Palermo to Sicily, from about 1900 to the 1920s, that's what's left of Little Italy today. It was actually important that in Little Italy, you had to know which dialect you were going to be going to live with. Because if you're Sicilian and somebody speaks Calabrese, it's very, very different. It's like Spanish versus Puerto Rican. There's a difference in the dialects, for sure. We have so many different immigrants that come from so many different lands and have given us the great city that we live in, New York. You'll notice lots of Irish bars around, and that's after the Great Potato Famine, where a lot of poor Irishmen came here and they got involved in the skills that they were best at. Maybe you've had frankfurters or hamburgers, or maybe listen to a Steinway piano, or use Heinz tomato ketchup, or put up a Tannenbaum, also as a Christmas tree. Well, thank you, Germans, because they also came here by the droves, especially in the early part of the 20th century. Eastern European Jews, and also Sephardic Jews, which are a combination of Spanish and Portuguese. We have had so many people that have given us all the aspects that make this city the wonderful place it is today. How many of you have played with Legos? Where do Legos come from? Do any of you know where Legos come from? Denmark. Yeah, you win nothing for that right answer. I'm glad you didn't test. Anyway, we rejected 2% of the immigrants that came to El Salvador during its active years. We were unprepared as a relatively new country to take on the burden of any immigrant that was not with workable skills or money of their own. We were not about to support them. We needed people that were not mentally deficient, people with physical ailments that might prevent them from becoming part of the working class. We rejected people that might be diseased, that could easily spread through a community.